The invisible trap of wanting too much. Have you ever chased a dream so hard, only to feel more empty the closer you got? It's as if the more we want something, love, success, peace, the further it seems to slip away. You study harder, hustle more, meditate longer, but somehow, fulfillment stays just out of reach. There's a reason for that. Wanting by itself isn't the problem. It's what's hidden inside our wanting. Most of us don't just want, we grasp. We don't just pursue, we cling. And that clinging, that emotional tightness, becomes a trap we barely notice. It's like chasing your own shadow. The faster you run, the more exhausted you get. But the shadow, it never moves closer. Why? Because it was never separate from you in the first place. Here's a story. A young professional in his early 30s, let's call him Adam, had a checklist for happiness. By 30, six-figure job, stable relationship, own apartment, annual vacations. He got all those things. And yet, each night he'd lie in bed and feel a gnawing dissatisfaction. So he raised the stakes. Next target. A promotion, marriage, mortgage. But the more he got, the more he feared losing it. And with each win, came a whisper in his mind. Is this it? What Adam didn't realize, what many of us don't, is that the hunger wasn't for things. It was for peace, for security, for meaning. And no amount of achieving could fill that hole, because it wasn't meant to be filled externally. Zen Buddhism has a name for this cycle. Dukkha, the suffering of unsatisfied craving. It's the quiet ache of reaching endlessly without ever arriving. This doesn't mean we shouldn't have goals. It means we need to change how we relate to those goals. Instead of saying, I need this to be happy, we shift to, I'd love for this to happen, but I'm whole either way. That small shift changes everything. When your worth isn't riding on the outcome, you act from choice, not desperation. You show up fully, not fearfully. The irony? That's usually when life starts flowing. Because neediness repels, but wholeness attracts. It's like emotional gravity. This isn't about settling or giving up. It's about reconnecting with the truth. You were never lacking to begin with. Wanting is natural, but clinging is suffering. So if you've been feeling exhausted chasing the next thing, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, not what you want next, but what you're truly seeking underneath that want. Is it love? Safety? Worth? What if you stopped chasing and started embodying it? Because sometimes the secret isn't to get more. It's to realize you already have enough. If you've ever felt this invisible trap, comment, I've been there. You're not alone. Let's explore together how to get free. Let go or be dragged. The wisdom of surrender. Imagine you're caught in a river's current. The more you fight it, the more exhausted you become. You flail. You panic. You sink. But the moment you let go, you realize the water was never trying to drown you. It was trying to carry you. This is the paradox of surrender. In Zen, there's a simple, sharp saying, let go or be dragged. It sounds blunt, even harsh, but beneath it is deep mercy. Many of us spend our lives being dragged by expectations, disappointments, fears. We cling to how we think things should be. We demand life follows our script. And when it doesn't, we suffer. You planned the perfect job, the relationship that had to work, the path you were supposed to be on. But now, you're tired, confused, stuck. Let me tell you about Sarah. She was a dancer since age 6. Her whole identity was wrapped in performance, expression, applause. But at 28, a knee injury ended it all. She fell into depression. For months, she fought reality. This isn't fair. This isn't me. She tried everything to fix it. Rehab, reframing, resentment. But nothing worked until she stopped fighting. Until she asked a terrifying, liberating question. If I'm not a dancer anymore, who am I? And from that question came unexpected freedom. She started painting, then teaching. She discovered new joys she never would have touched if she hadn't first let go of what was. This doesn't mean surrender is easy. It means surrender is honest. There's a difference between giving up and letting go. Giving up comes from fear. Letting go comes from wisdom. When we let go, we don't abandon effort. We abandon attachment. We show up fully. But stop gripping the outcome with white-knuckle tension. Think of holding a bird. Squeeze too tight, it dies. Hold too loose, it flies away. But rest it gently in an open palm. That's balance. This is the art of flowing with life instead of resisting it. It's not passive, it's deeply alive. Surrender isn't about becoming helpless. It's about becoming fearless. Because once you stop needing life to go your way, you're free to live it as it is. And in that space, something extraordinary happens. Clarity arises. Peace enters. You begin to trust that the river knows where it's going. So let me ask you, what's one thing you're gripping too tightly right now? What would happen if you loosened your hold? Just a little? If that question hits home, comment below. What I'm letting go of is. Let's name it. Share it. Release it together. Want nothing. Enjoy everything. Here's a paradox. The people who seem to enjoy life the most aren't the ones who chase the hardest. They're the ones who know how to care deeply, but hold lightly. This idea confuses many. Non-attachment sounds like indifference, like not caring. But that's a misunderstanding. True non-attachment isn't cold or detached. It's the opposite. It means being fully present, while releasing your demand for how things must turn out. Imagine a street musician playing in the middle of a busy city. He's not there for fame. He's not obsessing over tips. He plays because he loves the music. You can feel it in every note. Ironically, people stop. They smile. They drop money. Not because he's trying, but because he's being. That's the essence of non-attachment. You give your best, but don't anchor your worth to the outcome. Wanting isn't the enemy. Clinging is. Think of an artist painting for joy versus one painting to get likes on social media. Same act, different energy. One flows from fullness, the other from fear. When you care deeply but hold lightly, you enter what psychologists call a flow state. You're so immersed in what you're doing that you forget to worry about how it looks. And that's when your best self emerges. Your most authentic work, your deepest peace. But how do you do that, especially when life feels uncertain? It starts by shifting your question. Instead of, what will I get from this? Ask, how can I show up fully now, regardless of the result? That simple reframing puts you back in control. Not of the outcome, but of your presence. Let's go deeper with a story. Lena was a high-achieving executive, known for crushing every target. But she always felt anxious, driven, tense. She came across a Zen idea, act without attachment. So she tried something radical. She still aimed for excellence, but stopped tying her identity to the results. First, it felt scary. What if she failed? What if people thought she was slacking? But over time, she felt lighter, more creative. Oddly enough, her performance improved. She was no longer operating from fear, but from flow. This shift didn't make her stop caring. It helped her care in a way that nourished her, not drained her. That's the magic. When you want nothing, you don't stop living. You start enjoying, because you realize joy isn't at the finish line. It's in the process. So what would your day look like if you gave your all, but didn't grip the results so tightly? Try it, and you might just find that freedom has been here all along. Comment below. What's one area of your life you could hold more lightly today? Let's bring space into our desires. The butterfly principle. When you stop chasing, it comes. Have you ever tried to catch a butterfly? You lunge, it flutters away. You move slowly, it stays just out of reach. But the moment you sit still, it might gently land on your shoulder. This isn't just true in nature. It's true in life. We chase love. We chase success. We chase peace of mind. But often, the more desperately we pursue, the more those things elude us. This is the paradox of attraction. You don't get what you chase. You get what you become. Let's take a classic example, love. How many people find the one right after they stop looking? They delete the dating apps. They stop strategizing every conversation. They go live their lives authentically, joyfully. And one day there they are, standing across from someone who just gets them. It didn't happen because they gave up. It happened because they let go. They stopped searching from a place of lack and started being from a place of wholeness. Think about it. Would you rather be pursued by someone who needs you to feel complete, or someone who's already complete and simply chooses you? Energy matters, and desperation has a smell. So does calm confidence. In Zen there's a saying, what you seek is seeking you, but cannot find you when you're frantically searching. Let that sink in. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing from a place of presence. Being open to receive without frantic grasping. Here's a real-life story. Mike spent years trying to land his dream job in environmental science. Dozens of applications, countless interviews, rejections piled up. His self-worth tanked. One day, frustrated, he shifted his focus. He joined a local conservation group, volunteered, gave talks, not to impress, just to reconnect with what he loved. Months later, a guest at one of his workshops turned out to be the hiring manager of a major NGO. She saw his passion, his presence. He got the job without applying. Why? Because he stopped chasing the outcome and started living in alignment. The butterfly landed, not because he hunted it, but because he created a space where it wanted to be. So ask yourself, what are you chasing so hard that you might be pushing it away? What would happen if you paused and simply made space for it to come? Sometimes we don't need to try harder. We need to surrender deeper and trust that what's meant for us will find its way when we're ready. If this resonates, comment below. Time to stop chasing. Let's invite the butterflies back. One breath at a time. Mastering the inner battlefield. There's a war that most people never talk about. A battle we fight not with others, but within ourselves. It shows up as anxiety before a big decision, as self-doubt when facing opportunity, as the endless voice that whispers, "You're not enough." In Zen Buddhism, true power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from mastering yourself. And that battle, your inner world, is the only one that truly matters. Let's pause on a quote. He who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers 1,000 men in battle. That's not just poetic. It's practical. Because external victories are fleeting. But inner peace, that's a foundation no storm can shake. Let me introduce Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the unimaginable Nazi concentration camps. Everything was stripped from him. Family, freedom, future. But in the middle of that horror, he discovered a powerful truth. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. That choice, how we respond internally, is where our real strength lies. We can't always change what happens, but we can always choose how we meet it. This is the essence of self-mastery. Not suppressing emotion, but becoming aware of it. Watching your anger, fear, jealousy, not acting blindly from it. It's like sitting by a river, watching leaves float by. Each leaf is a thought, an emotion. You don't jump in after them. You notice, you breathe, you stay on the shore. That's the practice of zazen or sitting meditation in Zen. Not to escape life, but to meet it with presence. Because when you're no longer ruled by every thought or feeling, you become free. And there's another layer, values. Living out of alignment with your core values creates internal war. Say you deeply value honesty, but you tell a small lie at work to get ahead. Outwardly, you win. Inwardly, you feel uneasy, restless. That tension, it robs you of peace. But when you act with integrity, even if it costs you something, you gain something far greater: self-respect, clarity, strength. So self-mastery means two things. 1. Observing your mind instead of obeying it. 2. Aligning your actions with what truly matters to you. When you do that, you stop reacting and start responding. You stop clashing with life and start moving with it. You become still in the storm, clear in the noise, free in a world full of chains. So ask yourself today, where am I giving my power away? What internal habits, thoughts, stories, reactions are dragging me? And more importantly, what would it look like to take that power back? If you're ready to win the only battle that truly matters, comment. I choose inner mastery. Let's rise together from the inside out. Wholeness first, goals second. What if the real reason your goals aren't fulfilling is because you're chasing them from a place of emptiness? So many of us are taught, once I succeed, I'll feel complete. But Zen flips that script entirely. Feel complete and then succeed. This isn't just feel-good talk. It's the foundation for sustainable success, inner and outer. Let's unpack this. Imagine two people running a marathon. One believes, if I finish first, then I'll be enough. The other believes, I'm already enough, and I'm running because I love the journey. Same race, different energy. One is chasing validation. The other is expressing joy. Which runner do you think will finish feeling more fulfilled? This shift from lack to wholeness changes everything. When you act from lack, you bring anxiety, pressure, and fear into every step. But when you act from wholeness, you bring calm, clarity, and power. You no longer see success as proof of your worth. You see it as a natural extension of your joy and authenticity. Think of someone who loves to cook. They don't cook to impress. They cook because they are a creator, because it lights them up inside. And that energy, it's magnetic. People feel it. Opportunities flow to it. Now here's the trap. Most of us were conditioned to believe we need to earn our worth. Grades, likes, promotions, compliments. We collect them like badges. But none of them stick. Because deep down, we haven't claimed our enoughness yet. Zen invites us back to that truth. You are perfect as you are, and you could use a little improvement. It sounds contradictory, but it's brilliant. It means you don't need to be fixed, but you can still grow. From love, not from lack. This is the sweet spot. You can dream big, without believing your happiness depends on the outcome. You can work hard, without tying your identity to your results. You can evolve, while loving yourself fully now. So how do you practice this? Before any big action, pause. Ask, am I doing this to prove something, or to express something? If it's the latter, you're in alignment. One last story. Jasmine wanted to build a coaching business. At first, she marketed herself out of fear. Polished language, perfect branding, but she felt disconnected. One day, she posted a raw story about a struggle she overcame. No sales pitch, just truth. The response exploded. Clients came. Collaborations followed. Why? Because she stopped performing and started being. She didn't wait to feel complete. She started from that place. And the world responded. So today, ask yourself, what would shift in your life if you already felt whole? What would you stop chasing? And what would you start sharing? If that resonates, comment, I choose wholeness first. Let's build from abundance, not anxiety. The garden approach, creating space, not force. Picture a gardener tending to her plants. She doesn't scream at the soil. She doesn't yank the petals to make them bloom faster. She waters. She nurtures. She waits. She creates the conditions, and then steps back. That's the garden approach. And it might be the very shift your life is asking for. So many of us have been conditioned to push, to grind, to force things into place. We wear burnout like a badge of honor. And yet we're tired, frustrated, overwhelmed. Zen offers another way, Wu Wei, effortless action. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what's needed, without resistance, tension, or ego. Think of water. It doesn't attack the rock. It flows around it. And over time, it shapes mountains. This is not weakness. It's wisdom. Let's take a real example. Daniel was trying to write his first book. Every morning, he forced himself to hit a word count. He battled the page. His writing felt flat. His creativity dried up. One day, burned out, he stopped. Instead of forcing words, he walked in nature. He read poetry. He let his mind rest. Soon, ideas started bubbling again. The book began to flow, not because he pushed harder, but because he created space. This is the paradox. Sometimes doing less allows more to emerge, because not all action is equal. There's frantic activity, and then there's aligned effort. One drains you, the other sustains you. In your life, what are you pushing so hard that it's starting to push back? Maybe it's a job, a relationship, a creative project, a healing journey. Ask yourself, am I giving this space to breathe, or am I trying to control every outcome? Because just like a garden, growth needs room. Room for silence, room for rest, room for the unexpected. When you stop forcing, you start aligning. You start trusting that some things take time, take trust, take surrender. So today, what would it look like to switch from, how can I make this happen, to, how can I create space for this to grow? Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to pause, breathe, and let life catch up. If you feel this, comment, I'm making space. Let's tend to our gardens with patience and peace. Abundance begins with giving. It sounds backward, doesn't it? You want more, so you're told to give more? But in Zen wisdom, this isn't just philosophy. It's a powerful truth. In giving, we receive. Not in some karmic keep-score way, but because giving opens you. It shifts your energy from lack to overflow. Think about it. When you're focused on what you don't have, you contract, you guard, you withhold your time, your love, your gifts. But when you give freely, authentically, you expand. You remind yourself, I have something worth sharing, and that changes everything. Here's a story. Every Saturday, a man named Jordan volunteers at a community garden. He's not paid. No one posts about it. But each week he shows up, plants seeds, waters, digs. One day, a young woman came by, struggling with grief. He handed her a small plant, said nothing. Weeks later, she returned, smiling, lighter. She'd started gardening at home, felt a sense of purpose again. Jordan never intended to fix anyone. He simply gave what he had: time, presence, care. And in return, he felt connected, alive, fulfilled. This is the magic of service. It doesn't have to be big. Sometimes holding space for a friend, smiling at a stranger, sharing your story honestly, is the exact medicine someone needs. And you get to feel what you were truly craving: connection, meaning, aliveness. Giving also creates flow. It's like breath. You inhale and exhale. Try holding your breath too long, you'll suffocate. Try only exhaling, you'll collapse. True abundance flows through both, receiving and giving. When you hoard attention, love, wisdom, you stagnate. But when you circulate, you tap into a deeper well. Even Oprah said, be thankful for what you have, and you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. That's not just gratitude. That's generosity of spirit. So today, ask yourself, what do I already have that I could offer? A kind word? A skill? A quiet moment of listening? You don't need to be perfect to give. You just need to be willing. Because sometimes what you give away freely comes back in the most beautiful, unexpected forms. If this speaks to you, comment, today I choose to give. Let's live from overflow, not emptiness. Embrace the impermanence. We love the golden leaves of autumn, but we know they'll fall. We savor the warmth of summer, but we know winter is coming. And still, those seasons are beautiful, because they end. That's the lesson of impermanence. Everything changes. Everything fades. Everything passes. At first, this truth can feel heavy, scary, even sad. We want to hold on to moments, to people, to certainty. But Zen teaches, all that has a beginning has an end. Make peace with that and all will be well. Because when we accept impermanence, we begin to truly live. Think of a parent watching their child grow. From baby giggles to teenage questions to adult independence. Every stage is precious. Not despite its ending, but because of it. Clinging to what was blinds us to what is. Trying to freeze happiness prevents us from experiencing it. So what if we flipped the script? What if, instead of fearing change, we welcomed it? What if we saw endings not as loss, but as space for something new? Here's a moment from real life. Emily's father used to walk her to school every day. Same sidewalk, same stories. One day she walked alone. He'd passed on. Years later, she still walks that path. Not in grief, but in gratitude, because the impermanence of those walks made each one more sacred. We can't stop time, but we can stop missing it while it's here. When you accept that nothing lasts forever, you stop wasting energy trying to control or possess, and start cherishing. This doesn't mean giving up or detaching. It means diving into each moment more deeply, loving harder, showing up fully, because this moment, it's one of a kind. Even pain becomes more bearable. Why? Because it too will pass. Heartbreak, failure, doubt, they don't define you. They move through you. And joy? You hold it with open hands, not clinging but celebrating. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to? Not because it serves you, but because you fear what comes next. What would it feel like to let go? Not with bitterness, but with love? If this lands in your heart, comment, I choose to embrace change. Together, let's honor the beauty of what is, while it's still here. Now is all we ever have. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel it fill your lungs, and then leave. That breath, that's now. And now is all you ever have. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, just this. Zen masters say, the present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. But most of us don't see it, because we're somewhere else. Regretting the past, worrying about the future, scrolling through timelines, missing this one, the timeline of your own life. It's not your fault. The world is designed to pull you away from presence. But presence is where your power lives. Let's bring this home with a story. Novak Djokovic, tennis champion, once said the biggest shift in his career came when he stopped focusing on the scoreboard and started focusing on the next ball. Not the match, not the trophy, just the serve, the breath, the moment. That shift made him a better player and a happier human, because when you show up fully to now, you stop performing, you start living. Mindfulness isn't some esoteric practice. It's a return to your coffee in the morning, to the way sunlight hits your face, to the sound of laughter, the weight of your body, the beat of your heart. Everything you're chasing, peace, fulfillment, clarity, already lives here, in the now. But here's the trick. You have to slow down enough to notice. So today, don't rush. Don't multitask your life away. Be where your feet are. Be who you are without apology. Because this moment is not a means to an end. It is the end. And it's beautiful. So ask yourself, what can I do right now? With full presence, full heart, full attention? Maybe it's listening. Maybe it's creating. Maybe it's just breathing. That's where life lives. Not in the next achievement. Not in the next someday. But here, now. If you're ready to live your life from this place, comment, I'm choosing now. Let's come back to presence. Together.